6 minutes, the new look 6 minutes, where we actually try to keep it, or I actually try to keep it to 6 minutes. Now, I won't be able to keep it to 6 minutes all the time. It'll go a little over. I simply like to talk wrestling, and that's just the way it goes. But the idea of the 6 minutes is to really kind of recap the ideas or the stories and the results and things like that that have happened across the Southeast over the last day or over the weekend or over the last couple of days if it doesn't come out daily. So trying to really just update you guys on what's happening across the Southeast as it relates to wrestling and everything else. So 6 minutes. Now, are we going to stop doing longer form interviews, things along those lines? The answer is no. Of course, we're going to continue to do those. We're going to continue to do things along those lines. And some of those might be 20, 30 minutes long. It'll still be under 6 minutes, the 6 minute banner. But we're going to try to do these very short to try to keep it to 6 minutes. And I've already talked way too much. Probably already a minute of my 6 minutes is gone. So let's get on with today's topic. So this past weekend, Georgia and Florida had their Freco, Freestyle and Greco state championships. It was great. A lot of really good wrestling going on. I saw it online on Track Wrestling, so on and so forth. North Carolina and Tennessee had theirs previously. I believe Alabama's is coming up in a couple of weeks. South Carolina, I'm not 100% sure when their Freestyle and Greco state championships are, so we'll have to track that down. But let's talk a little bit about the winners from this past weekend. So that's let's jump right into, and I don't want to be like a teacher and read off PowerPoint slides and everything else. So I'm not going to sit here and list everybody who won and so on and so forth. But based upon this, you can see by the names that we'll take a look at the juniors in Georgia first. Those that are bolded won both styles, both freestyle and Greco. So Hunter McCullough, Colin Mullins, Art Martinez, David Pannone, Jeremy Paradise, Tyler Secoy, Ryan Miller, and Dylan Galloway, they all won in both styles, freestyle and Greco, in your juniors. Now, one of the challenges in the juniors was, especially, and we expect this, down at the lower weight classes and then up at the upper weight classes, the brackets were quite small. In fact, Ryan Miller and Dylan Galloway, I'm not sure that they had anyone in their weight class besides them. So that's really weird to me. We're going to have to, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. As far as the cadets go, Christopher Swan won it in both styles, Roman Bellardo and Antonio Mills. And you can see there's a whole host of others that won in multiple weight classes. Jace Parent won it at 145 in freestyle, but won it at 152 in Greco. The girls, we had winners all the way down from 100 to 225. And to be fair to the girls, many of the Georgia high school girls were in Fort Worth, Texas, competing at women's nationals. So again, our numbers here were not all that great. I think Raven Cook at 144, she was the only person in the weight class. And then let's jump down to the Florida girls. Again, you see quite a few holes in the weight classes. There was simply no one registered in those weights, and that's what we're going to get to here in just a few minutes. Before we do that, let's talk real quick about Florida juniors. Again, look at that bottom group. Washburn, Jones, Vugman, Whidden, and Haas won it in both styles. Solorzano won it in both styles at 160. Down in cadets, again, you saw the same sort of run. Fretwell, who looks like he might be back at Lake Highland Prep. Zeno Moore, Anderson Heap, Elvis Solis won it in those in both styles, in both freestyle and Greco for the cadets. But the thing that I'm most interested to talk about as it relates to this is the fact that, at least to me, the numbers seem down. I don't know. I mean, the truth is, I haven't tracked all the numbers for over the last several years. I don't know if the numbers are indeed down. But let's just take a step back and take a look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is this. 1,200 maybe high school boys qualify for the Georgia High School State Tournament. Okay? We didn't have but a fraction that didn't even have to qualify for the freestyle state tournament, and yet there was no one. I mean, there were weight classes where there wasn't anybody registered. Nobody was even there. Now, one of the things I think that we have to pay attention to is there's a lot of events. I mean, one of the reasons why you might not have seen some of the names is because a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they were out in Vegas. They were competing at World Team Trials. They're competing at this. They're competing at that. I would never be one to say there are too many opportunities for kids to compete and so on and so forth. But I do think that there's something to be considered as far as all the folk style opportunities, all the freestyle opportunities across the Southeast, that the state tournament, and both for Georgia and Florida, maybe wasn't nearly as didn't have the level of participation that we would expect. So let's jump and take a look at it, at some of the different things, some of the different states. As you can see, I've broken this out. This is the boys for for 7 states: Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Virginia, and Iowa. They all wrestled within the last week or two, and you can see the numbers for juniors, cadets, and schoolboys. And you can see for Florida, the juniors were 131, but for Georgia, the number that actually wrestled was 61 kids. 61 juniors actually wrestled in the Georgia State Freestyle Tournament. That's crazy. North Carolina had 74, Tennessee had 87, and then you look at 3 random states. I just picked them randomly, whatever I could find on track wrestling: Oklahoma, Virginia, and Iowa, which were significantly more, except for maybe against Florida. Tennessee is a smaller state, but I mean, 87 there at juniors, 118 in cadets. That's fantastic. They had the more cadets compete in their Tennessee State tournament as compared to Florida, Georgia, or North Carolina. And then, look at the schoolboys: 36, 46, 30. I mean, really, really small numbers in terms of schoolboys at the Florida, Georgia, North Carolina State Freestyle and Greco State tournaments. Let's take a look at the girls. Georgia didn't have a ton. That's the reason we actually have 18 with that little asterisk. And the reason the asterisk exists is because they clumped everybody in together. They didn't have enough to be able to have juniors, cadets, and schoolgirls. But Florida only had 5 schoolgirls, 17 cadets. Compare that to Tennessee, which had quite a few, and Oklahoma had a ton. Iowa had 45 junior girls compete at their freestyle and Greco State tournament. So this is all something that we should all pay attention to. I don't know if the numbers are down. I don't know if maybe it's this specific tournament, but this is something that we should pay attention to as we move forward. How do we get more kids involved in freestyle and Greco? How do we get them out to this tournament, these tournaments? This coming weekend is the Southeast Regionals up in North Carolina. I am hopeful that it is much better attended as compared to what we saw maybe last weekend. Hope you guys have a good one, and look for another 6 minutes in, I don't know, a day or two.